So now that we understand all that, setting up our other constraints will be pretty easy. Let's see, let's go up here. So this was our concrete. Like I said, let's do the glass next. I'm just gonna copy this and say glass. Oh, here we go. So we got our glass. We want to do also the connect adjacent pieces. So I'll just copy that one over here in the same exact way. So there you go. And we're going to want to have the constraint properties as well. We don't need this anymore. And remember to connect it to the middle input. Now this one, we're not going to do a glue cluster, so we can actually set our strength right here. I'm going to put propagation iterations back to 1, and the strength, because this is glass, should be very weak. So I'm just going to say it's just 1. And that's it. So merge that in. Remember the output here. So now we've got all these constraints. The windows are not attached into our network though. Or if we look at it from this angle, you can see they're kind of floating in here because we've handled the material separately. So we need to do one more connect adjacent pieces, but this one's going to be a little bit different. This one is going to say find boundary connections. And the boundary is when the part type is different. Finally, we're using our part type attribute. Part type is the one that just said concrete or glass. So when that's different, or I should do it on here, but when that's different, only then make one of these constraints. So we want to have this work on everything. It'll still be fairly fast though. There you go. So this is the stitching. It's almost like spider webbing or tape that's going to glue in, it's going to, well, literally glue in our glass to the window frame. Everything else is the same. We again need to define the various constraint attributes for it. And I'm going to say this is going to be stronger, the way the glass attached to the frame, because they might want to have pieces of glass stuck into the window frame. So I'm imagining it's certainly not as strong as concrete with 100. It's not as weak as just the glass itself. So it's kind of this interstitial area here. So put that in there. And because I want it to be pretty, I'm going to click this arrow to make them be in a nice order, like so. This is the order of the inputs coming in. It doesn't actually matter. And that's it. Those are all of our constraints. So finally, hook that into here. This node isn't actually going to change anything about the constraints, but it will pass through here to here. I think if we did this, it would be essentially the same thing, but this is prettier. So by the time we get to this node, everything is set and ready. So now in our next chapter, we're going to actually set up the constraints in the simulation itself.